Board games, it's what I'm talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this morning. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and fairly soon there now we will find ourselves. Oh, man, I'm just not coming up with the good rhymes today. We will find ourselves, we have surrounded ourselves with someone. Oh, and we are just going live now. I'm going to unmute you again, Rita. And hello, Xate. So we are just jumping in live, and I am so sorry, Xate, who has a really bad migraine.
Live.
Yes, so board games is what we're talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. And over there in this virtual bubble is the person known as Rita Modl. I don't think that Rita's a jerk for having made the game Men at Work. Why would I even say such a thing? It is purely only to rhyme when I sing. Rita seems to have exuberance. We can all watch Rita dance. Again, Rita's one in the screen over there, showing off lots of flair, but we'll be talking about board games and making them. It's what we're talking about. Designing board games. I'm not gonna shout. Oh, and good morning. And so I hope that everyone is at least, has something that they can be joyful about. Lots of love to those who with chronic pain, lots of love to those who are having migraines, and yeah, hopefully you can have experienced something joyful, whether that's the crew, maybe you're addicted to the crew, I don't know, maybe you're watching Loserpalooza, whatever it is. I hope you are having fun. Of course, now I am Bez. We are blethering in some manner about board games. If you want to take a bath, you can, but you don't have to. But we are meeting Rita Modl, the wonderful, the exciting, the exuberant, the ecstatic. Thank you for coming on, Rita.
Hi!
And so you are a relatively new designer. You say that your first game was published just a few years ago, like myself. I mean, it's a very simple game, Men at Work. It did fairly well, and it's been translated now into quite a few languages. And you started off as a photographer. I wasn't quite sure if there was some German English. I left possibly the German in. Where should I put it? Fotodesign. When you say Fotodesign, do you mean photography, or is that the specific?
No, it's just, you can study photo design, but you can study photography. So Fotodesign is photography with a few more design things. So, yeah.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking. It's a very specific thing. And Xate says, we started a new My City campaign on Loserpalooza every Monday for the next 24 weeks. We will be playing through it again. That sounds lovely. And Xate, can you read this out? Dürfen wir heute Fragen auf Deutsch verfassen? What does that mean?
It's like, can we ask questions in German?
Es macht mir Spaß, wenn Bez versucht, Deutsch zu lesen.
You're reading that really, really good.
Thank you. I mean, German is very very easy to read, because unlike English, which English has so many weird rules, like, you know, Loughborough University, you know, it could be pronounced lowbrow depending on. Does this mean? Can you translate this? Actually, I think I know what it means, but
it's a lot of fun when you read that German sentence.
Okay. Anxiety does this to Bez a lot. I mean, I don't know. I'll let you decide, Rita. You are the guest.
It's your life.
No, but this is your couple of hours. Are you happy translating?
Yes, of course, of course.
Okay, there we go. And hello, the game cupboard. That is Ben and Kelly Lee. It is lovely to see you. And for today's RRR, which you will have to invent the reverse acronym for that. But yes, anyway, we are meeting Rita Modl, designer of 3 published games so far, and many more that are signed up, but we can't talk about yet. Is that correct?
No, we can talk about one. So,
okay.
Yeah, but the others, no.
So let's start off by talking just in the past few days. How has everyone been? What have you been up to? What have you been enjoying? Let's talk about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights. Recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. So what have been some of your recent highlights, Rita?
So you mean board games, I think?
Board games. Oh, Rita, are you wearing headphones?
Yes, I'm wearing headphones.
Okay. In that case, I don't know why there's an echo. My headphones are plugged in. Rita's headphones are plugged in, and the noises are coming in through our headphones. Yeah. Other game cupboards, let me know if you are getting any echo. But hopefully that's just on Sate's end. But what have you been enjoying recently?
Okay, so I played a lot of good board games. So I think this year is a very, very good board game year. So I played a lot of good board games. And I want to talk about a few. So the first one is Smart 10. It's a quiz game. You know Smart 10? No, I can hear you.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know it.
So okay, it's very simple. So it is a box with questions, and there are like little bubbles, and you can turn them out, and there is the answer. And yeah, it's going around, and you can ask questions, and it's a little bit of push your luck. So if you want answering more questions, you have a risk to lose the other points you make. So it's very, very easy, and if you look at it, you think, oh, what's this? But when you play it, it's so good, and the questions are so so different from everything, musician or geography and everything. It's different. Very cool. Bess, are you there? Hello? Hello? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Bess, where are you? So, yeah, I don't know where he is. Maybe he is an alien and have to go on Mars for a quick time and looking if there is everything okay on Mars. So, but I hope he's getting back very soon. Don't know what's going on. So this is Smart 10, the game here. The orange box is Smart 10, the quiz game I just talked about. So it's very good. And there is Beth again. Beth is here. Bess is here.
Yay! I've never gotten. I love this excitement and exuberance. I have never had such a warm welcome. So just so people know, I am now using the mobile data because for whatever reason the Wi-Fi is not great. So fingers crossed, I will be able to keep streaming with this mobile data. And so, I can't see the previous.
Did you hear me singing? Bess, did you hear me singing?
I can't see the previous Twitch comments I was going to say, but I heard you coming. I heard you singing just.
Oh, you're. Oh no, you're away again. Oh no. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Bess, where are you? Yes. So I'm talking about the second game I really enjoyed this year. Oh, there are you. Hello.
Yes. Again, I am so sorry, everyone. We will have to. Oh, yes, I am going to try and get a better internet connection sorted in this house in the next week. As in, it won't happen in the next week, but at least order it in the next week. So that will be a nice thing, and then it will be much faster, and I'll even be able to have both the cameras again. But yes, it is lovely to see you again. So I assume you've been talking about Smart Zen.
Yeah. So I just talked to the others.
I am going to apologize. I will watch this video back.
So this is Smart 10, the box, the orange one. And the second game I really enjoyed was Niedervilliers. Do you know Niedervilliers?
No.
No, it's
I do not.
It has a new mechanic. It's called coin building. So if you're interested in new mechanics, you should really try Niedervilliers. It's very cool. It's a short. Yeah, it's a short game, so 30 to 45 minutes, and I had a lot of fun with it. And the last game, no, I just want to talk two more. Oh no, he's back. Oh no, he's away again. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Yes, where are you? So I'm doing this every time you're away. Every time. So I tell okay, the third game is the Isle of Cats. I really enjoyed it. So in German it's die Insel der Katzen, and this was very cool. And also the Grand Carnival. It was a Kickstarter, and it also has a really cool new mechanic. I really enjoyed, and yeah, you should all try them. And there's a third person here. Who is it?
And hello, Alex. It's lovely to see you. We are I am having connection issues. That's what's going on today. Obviously, that's not a recent highlight. And so I'm going to, as I say, I will have to listen back to this video to hear properly a lot of what you've been saying.
Yes.
But yes, I have been playing a bit more Rummy with parents. It is really not my favorite game, but it's, again, just a way that we can sit together and spend time together. And that is kind of what gaming is all about. Other food eaten. Oh, I want to say, so I'm trying to have a very low sugar diet for this month. So I am allowing myself sugar in bread, for example. I'm allowing myself a little bit of sugar in that bread. And I'm allowing myself natural sugar in the fruit once a day. but trying to generally stay away from things.
Okay.
I found out, firstly, I found a peanut butter that has no sugar in it, and I was quite excited by that. Secondly, I found out that for chips, I quite like full-fat yogurt as a substitute instead of tomato ketchup or mayonnaise. Full-fat yogurt, for me, actually works quite nicely as a sauce.
So
I haven't had honey yet. I've not made a judgment call yet. If I feel like I really, really, really need to have something sweet, then maybe I will succumb to that. But for now, I'm not having honey either.
So during the first lockdown, I made a lot of sport and I lost 3 kilos. So it's like
Nice.
3 pounds. I don't know.
No, I know kilos.
Kilos.
I
Okay.
know kilos better than pounds.
Okay. So I lost 6 kilos, and so it's
Wow.
the second. Yeah, it's the second lockdown, and I hope I lose 6 kilos too.
Well, I mean, as long as you do it in a healthy manner.
Yes, I'm walking a lot with my dog. So usually 1 or 2. What should we help you look for? And so I usually walk a lot with my dog, so 2 hours per day, and I hope that works. Yes.
Nice.
So,
I have kept up to my routine that I was telling you beforehand, just having a morning walk before each of these shows. But yesterday it was so icy that I barely made it round 1 block, and I was holding on to the fences so carefully because otherwise my feet would slip. So I had to always be holding on to something. I'm not exaggerating. Today it wasn't that bad. I was walking in the middle of the road, but if I had walked on the pavements, then I think, so every time a car came, I had to, just get to the edge, and I walked a wee bit more. But yeah, it's difficult sometimes when it's so icy to get out and do this exercise and to keep yourself motivated and to do something indoors. But Alex says, tell us your secrets. How did you lose so much?
First I had to walk a lot, and the second thing I tried the diet. In German it's Intervallfasten. I don't know what's the English word.
Intermittent fasting.
Yes.
When you maybe only eat 1 or 2 meals a day.
Yes, and you can eat 8 hours per day, but not so much, and then 16 hours nothing. And that worked very good at the first time, but, and this is really not good. So usually I eat. I love eating. I really love eating, and so then I started sleeping very, very long so that I can't eat. So I started sleeping 12 hours a day. and that was not good.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like the best thing.
Yes, but so I stopped it, but I can handle it very good. But now I try to do more sports. So yes, that's the reason.
Yeah, Alex says you're not hungry when you're asleep.
Yeah.
Sate says Sate walked so much yesterday, but Alex's package is finally sent. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Scott, 2 days a week, restricts their diet. No sugar, no carbs, no alcohol. That sounds quite impressive. So do you even abstain from fruits on those days, or do you still have natural sugar? What do you mean by no sugar? Do you mean like, yeah, what do you eat? But anyway, so if anyone else has any recent highlights that they would like to share, please.
I have a second highlight.
Oh, feel free.
Yes. I started a podcast.
Oh.
Yes. So it was a very express idea. So it was a Corona podcast. Yes,
So something to fill time, because we all need something to engage ourselves and stop ourselves getting bored.
Yes. And so a few weeks ago, I talked to a YouTuber called Alex from Team Hunter and Krone. I don't know if you know him. And we are chatting, and I said, let's start a podcast. Ha ha ha. Very funny. And then the second lockdown was here, and then I said, I have to do something. I can't do nothing again. So I started a podcast with Alex, and so this evening we are making the second. We're making it the second time, and nice. The podcast it's very short. So what we do, we play games which connects with board games. Okay. So for example, we played a Taboo, but with board games. And you can,
so it's like kind of redesigning it to be more about board games, like party games. Okay.
Yes.
And is that a video thing, so is that something for YouTube when you say it's a podcast?
It's on YouTube, but it's also on Spotify and Apple Music. So yeah, nice. And it's
so that's
called
with Hunter and Chrome.
What?
That's with Alex from Hunter and Chrome.
Yeah. And the podcast is called Spielen aufs Ohr. It's only in German, but yeah. But we
so playing to the hour?
Playing on the ear?
Ear.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, we're having a lot of fun with playing games with board games. So
that sounds like that does sound fun. And so if there's anyone who knows German and speaks it maybe a little bit better than I do, then check that out. And Sate asks, will Alex strip in the podcast like he does in some of their top 10 videos?
Yes. So that's why I wanted to do a podcast, so that if he gets naked, no one sees it, but it's also on YouTube. So no, not yet.
Okay. And going back to diets, Scott apparently does 2 days a week, still eats some fruit, but just no processed sugar and no honey. And podcast strippers are quite niche, says Alex. It could be like an audio description. Alex takes off their shirt 1 inch at a time, sliding it up higher and higher under torso until we see a tiny bit of oh la la.
Oh la la. Okay. No.
Muffled sounds of removed clothes. Oh wait, it's caught on my head. Hold on for a moment. Now Alex fumbles around with the shirt, trying to awkwardly get it over their head and failing until finally it's all comes off in a move that could be considered charming, but is really just a little bit disappointing. Anyway, so moving on, let us talk about a brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant? Okay, so I normally like to get the guests to nominate something, but Rita, you didn't have any strong nominations. I just want to talk about, let's talk about carbon. Yeah, sure, carbon dioxide being released in the atmosphere is not a great thing, but the elements carbon, that's pretty useful. You know, when you've got a graphite pencil and then you're writing with it, that's pretty darn awesome. Pencils are brilliant. A nice form of carbon, and of course carbon diamonds are quite pretty.
What is a carbon?
Carbon, the element. You know, like carbon dioxide.
Yeah. Okay.
So in a pencil, where's the graphite? Do I have the graphite?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There will normally be carbon in that pencil.
Yeah.
And obviously, with coal, we have to be careful that we don't burn so much that we heat up the planet and lead to global warming. But at the same time, I think there's something lovely about, graphite pencils. That's, I think, the best. And if it were not for carbon, then, just a little bit of carbon dioxide, breathing it out, because we are carbon-based life forms, and the whole photosynthesis, carbon dioxide helps them, leads to oxygen for us, and so it's all part of that whole mixture. And I think that this whole system is a brilliant thing. Do you have anything more to say about carbon?
No, but I have to say about non-brilliant things. So I wonder why they can walk through the moon or transplant an organ, but even didn't find out a pill or something where we can just put in and eat as much as we can and don't get fat. So what's going on? Is it for the food industry? They didn't want that, or the health industry? I don't know. Why?
I mean,
why doesn't exist such a pill? I don't know.
I'm not a scientist. I assume that it's just difficult to make. I'm sure that there would be a lot of money to be made if they actually made such a pill. And personally, I know that I would. Yeah, that doesn't sound like an easy pill to make.
I would do that. I would eat that. Yeah, really.
Fun fact from Alex: all the weight you lose comes out as carbon dioxide from your breath, apparently. That sounds... Is that definitely true? I mean, I'm trusting you, but wow, that is quite incredible. We've got other brilliant things. Xate mentions a neck massage thingy that Xate is using to help their neck. And Alex says the cutest thing that they found out recently is that water is lighter than air in vapor form, because basically the oxygen atom is being floated up on two tiny little hydrogen balloons. And yeah, that what... And Xate said, oh, I thought the other end, and I was going to start congratulating people on their weight loss when they fart. But I don't know what to make of that.
This could be a change lifer. Imagine whenever somebody farts, people so that this is something good.
So congratulations, you were able to fart. And it's such a good thing that we are willing to embrace the rather nasty smell. Standing ovation. Bravo, bravissimo. Wonderful fart. Such expulsion, such a pungent odor, such a loud expulsion of air. Oh my gosh. I can already see this is going to be a crazy show, and let's get into more of the craziness. Let's talk about the questionably quick questions. Let's start off by asking, where exactly are you and what time is it? I am in Glasgow. It is 10:29. Where exactly are you?
I'm in a small village near Munich. We have nearly 3,000 people live here. And we have a lot of forests here, so I can walk through the forests. And yes, It's okay. It's okay. So I sometimes I miss the city. So I lived 17 years. I lived in Munich.
Is it Bayerischer
No,
Wald?
no. It's near Murnau, Garmisch. So it's in the south of Bavarian. Yeah. It's very lovely here, so people come here for holidays, and yeah, but I lived here in my childhood, and sometimes it was very boring, so I like the city more. But during Corona, I enjoyed living here because we have a garden, we have a lot of forests, I said. So I can walk long times with my dog, and so in Munich I lived in a one flat room.
And the nice thing about the forest, I guess, is that when you're walking around, even if it is icy, for the most part, you won't slip because it's not like you've got the smooth roads or the smooth pavements.
Yeah.
And even if the grass is frozen, you still won't slip.
Yeah. So I really I'm getting older also, so maybe that's another thing. But I starting enjoying it, living here again. So yes.
Nice. So if anyone has any questionably quick questions for Rita, then please fire them in and let's get to know Rita. Otherwise, I'm going to ask the more sensible things. And so let's start off by asking, what's the first board game that you remember playing?
My first board game I remember playing ever.
Yes.
I think it was Tempo, kleine Schnecke. I don't know the English word.
That's totally fair. Describe it.
Snake. It's with a no. It's snake. No. I have to Google. What is called? Can just anybody say what Schnecke in English? Tempo, kleine Schnecke in English. Schnecke. What's Schnecke?
Snail, apparently.
A snail, yeah, snail. So keep going, snail, or I don't know the English title. So it's like with the colored snails, and you just roll the dice, and the snail goes in the line, in the red line, and you roll again, and then the blue snail.
Oh, I think I know this one. It's the one where you roll, and then whatever color you roll, that snail moves, and then you just need to bet on whichever snail will make it over first.
Yes. I think that was my first game. Yes.
Yeah, I've not played that myself. I've seen something of it online, and it's like, yeah, I can totally see how for a child this is interesting, and it teaches them to roll the die. It teaches you to recognize the colors. It shows that there's some sorts of rules that you have to follow. And then presumably you went on to play other things.
Yeah. So, but
is this what you said? Nadu Schnecke?
No, it's Tempo, kleine Schnecke.
Tempo, kleine Schnecke. So
Tempo, kleine
keep
Schnecke.
going, little snail.
Yes. So I played a lot when I was a child or when I was a teenager, but I think I stopped playing when Catan comes out. So then I stopped playing because all my friends didn't play board games, and so didn't I. And I started playing board games 4 years ago again. So I had a really long break. Yeah, I had a long break, and I started designing first and then playing again.
Oh wow! So it was actually deciding to design before you got into it.
Yes.
Scott says that Scott bought Tempo Kleine Schnecke for their daughter many years ago. We've got a few interesting questions from the chat. You are allowed to pass on any of these questions if you want. So Xate asks, how old is older? Because you mentioned that you're older now.
So,
you don't have, so it's entirely up to you if you answer or not.
So now I'm 24 and so let's say I'm 24 points.
24 and a few more months.
Yes.
Okay. Xate asks, can you say Oach Katzel Schwaf?
Oach Katzel Schwaf. Oach Katzel Schwaf.
What does this mean?
It's like a word to say when you want to hear if someone is a Bavarian or not. So it's Oach Katzel Schwaf is it's the tail of a squirrel. Tail of a squirrel.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think it's not the funniest word. So I think more funny is glump.
I mean, I'm more amused by the longer words, if I'm being honest.
Okay. Yeah, you mean glump. Glump?
I mean, I find Och Katzel Schwaf a bit more funnier just because it's, there's all these noises. Schwaf, like, just for my English ears, it's very unusual.
You pronounce it wrong. It's Och Katzel Schwaf.
Och Katzel Schwaf.
Schwaf. And you have to you have to lay in your chairs. Och Katzel Schwaf.
Och Katzel Schwaf. Let's move on. You don't need to teach me how to pronounce. This doesn't seem like an. I had to learn this word when I lived in the Bayerischer Wald.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
What is your favorite brightness? Asks Alex.
What is brightness?
So very bright, light and dark. So all the questionable questions. So basically, do you prefer it when things are very bright or when things are a bit more dark and gloomy?
Bright, I think.
Okay. And would you rather be able to fly for a day or breathe underwater for a day?
Of course, flying. Of course, flying. So I think it's very, very cool and feeling like a superhero and getting very fast from A to B. And yeah. So because breath underwater I can do for 2 minutes. Or 1 minute, so I can do that if I wanted, but flying I can't. So okay, I can jump from, but okay.
Yeah, breathing underwater, you could always have the scuba gear.
Yes, but waters could be very cold and it's winter and it's only funny in the summer. Yeah.
What if you can only fly for 1 or 2 minutes at a time? Would you still choose flying? Asks Kate.
Yes. I always would choose flying.
Yeah, you kind of know that, okay, I'm getting tired. Okay, I'm going to go down and sit on this roof for a wee bit to take a break. And then you'll get back off again and then do your flying and maybe come down to the ground.
So actually, I don't like water so much or swimming so much. So I like the sea, but on the beach. So yeah.
And I'm going to give people just 1 more minute or a few more minutes to get these out of their head. So Alex asks, would you rather have a duck-sized meatball or a meatball-sized duck?
I'd rather have a duck-sized meatball. So it's yes.
Ducks aren't that big. They're more like.
Yes. Okay. But I think this is very, very cool. I just I googled and I just wanted to buy such a big meatball, but it was very expensive, so I didn't buy it.
How much are we talking? How much was it, may I ask?
I think it was €50. So yeah.
Yeah, for a novelty, it's kind of, can you justify that price?
Yeah.
How much toilet paper? Oh, sorry, you read it out.
How much toilet paper? Yeah, did you panic buy for? So at the first time, I thought, no, I don't do that because it's not fair. But then I needed toilet paper, and then I didn't get one because all the others are buying it. Yes, and then I also started I also started buying it, but only 2 boxes. I don't know, so only 2 boxes, so not so much. Yeah.
Is a box like 9 rolls?
8 or 10. Yeah.
Okay.
So what crazy questions?
Well, this is how people want to get to know you. Now, I want to ask, books or podcasts?
Oh, I would say podcasts.
What was the last one you listened to?
I like a German podcast. It's called the podcast UFO. This is very funny. It's like it's with one of from Rocket Beans. Rocket Beans is it's an online TV show, and they're playing a lot of games and board games and other stuff and talking about everything. And one of them has a podcast, and this was very funny. Yeah.
Nice. And I like this very much as a final question. What do you like most about yourself?
I think my fingernails, because they are very strong and I can do nearly everything with them and they don't break. So I think this is one of my superpower, strong fingernails.
Nice. Now, I didn't check this with you before the show, and I actually found through Elizabeth Hargrave your photography website, which you hadn't sent me. But I wanted to check, are you happy for me to show your Instagram and your photos while we're chatting?
So I'm on Instagram. You can find me with my name or Rita on Fire. So you can also this is a very old picture, and
that's the way we go here. These are deep cuts.
I like it so much. I like them so much. do you know them? The pastel de nata?
I am familiar with these. I'm sure I had them in Royal Festival Hall, which Sates is familiar with, where we used to go every Friday back in the day to do playtesting, and outside there were all these food vans sharing food from Japan, from Korea, from Mexico. You could have grilled cactus, and yes, you could have some sweets like this.
Yeah. So this is a pastel de nata. It's from Portugal. It's like a hard. This was my visit to Porto also Portugal. And did you ever visit in Portugal?
I've never been to Portugal. Have do you
No,
do lots of traveling?
Yes, before Corona, I did a lot of traveling. So this is Port. It's a city in Portugal. It's the second big city in Portugal, and it was a great trip because this city is so, you can see the pictures. It's like you're living in the 60s, and it's so mixed up with old things and new stuff, and it was such a cool trip. It's a beautiful city, and I really enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed port wine. Do you know port wine?
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah, and we visit a port wine factory, and it was also, I love port wine. So if you
do
ever,
lots of tasting.
yeah, and this is my Instagram profile photo, and yeah, I love filters. I really enjoy them. That you're getting from the start. These are my first pics I posted.
You don't have to explain every single photo. If they spark up memories, then feel free to do so.
Yeah.
But it's entirely up to you.
Yeah, this is for, I made a post for Time's Up. So I drawn it on my own. Yeah.
And Seats is loving the memories of the wonderful, not so British food that was eaten in London at Royal Festival Hall. So, what's your favourite place that you've ever been to?
Oh, I think one of, so I like cities very much. And I think one of the greatest cities is Barcelona. I really love Barcelona, and also my boyfriend is half Spain, so we're traveling a lot through Spain. And but Barcelona is one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard. I don't think I've been, but I've heard such things about the architecture and the beauty.
Yeah.
Why do you love Barcelona?
So it's the city is near the beach, so you have a wonderful big city near the beach, and it also has beautiful buildings, and it has all the Spanish flair and so on. It's very mixture. You can do culture, you can have the beach, you can have the party, and the Spanish flair. So it's very mixture. Yeah.
Nice.
So these are my I started posting about board games. So you can see that was how many years ago? I can see it.
Almost 3 years ago now.
Yeah. So almost 3 years ago, I started posting about board games. So that's when I started playing again. You can see my
what was it that originally made you decide that you wanted to get into design? Because this is an interesting thing. You said you left board games and then you didn't even play Settlers of Catan because other people were not really into it. So you had a big gap, and then eventually decided to just start designing something, even though you'd not played something for years. Why?
I don't know. It was an idea from nowhere. It really came from nowhere, and I just said, it was after a children's party. I came home, and then I started thinking, I want to design a board game, and then I started designing a board game. And when it was ready, I knew something who worked for a German board game publisher. So I asked him, so how does this all works and what do I have to do? and he told me something, and yeah, I get my first canceling. You say that? Canceling?
Do you mean cancelling is normally when something was about to happen, but then it no longer happens?
No. My first, I showed it the publisher, and then he said,
pitch.
No, yeah.
Oh, your first rejection.
Yes, but it wasn't that bad because, and then I started. So what other games are now there? And my eyes popped out because there were so many good games. That was the time when Codenames was there, and I was so fascinated from the good games exists. So, and then I said, okay, I want to do more designing and better designing. And yeah, and then I also visit a lot of people who played board games. And yeah, and so I started playing board games again. Yeah.
And that's really interesting. So it's this sudden desire to make a board game that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, had you read about this or?
No. I just had the idea. I want to do a board game. I don't know where it came from. I don't know. I really don't know.
Hello, Javier Fernandez. It is lovely to see you, and Happy New Year to you as well. And I hope you are having a good New Year. Wow, TIL. Today I learned that Rita designed Men at Work. It was so much fun watching people play it at Essen 2019, says Javier.
Oh, thank you.
And I remember playing it at Frank West's convention, City of Kings, back when that was happening. And for sure, you know, it was a lovely thing. And would you say that now you are wanting to become a full-time designer, or would you say that you are preferring to concentrate on photography?
So during Corona, I had to do board game designing more because usually I do a photograph events, and there was no event in 2020, so I had to design board games. So this was my second thing to do, and now I live from board game designing. And I don't know how long Corona is, and still Corona is. There would be no photographer jobs. So, but I have a lot of fun with designing board games, so I still go on. Yeah.
I mean, clearly photography has been a big passion. And I was interested to talk about that course that you did back in the day. How was that, and what's originally got you into photography?
It was like a teenage dream. Yeah, I always wanted to be a photographer, but I told you I grew up in a very small village, and that was in the 90s, and everybody said, "Oh, you have to learn a good job, and photography is not a good job." So I made an apprenticeship as a banker and worked a few years as a banker. And then I decided to change my life and to go in school again, and then later studying photo design. And since 2010, I'm a freelance photo designer now. So this, and I think I would never stop being a photo designer because I can compare board game designing and photography very good. And it also gives me, that's my website. And this is, I also do politicians. And these are all politicians. And so and I think my study, photo design, helps me also in designing board games. So we didn't only photography. We didn't only studying photography. We also studying designing and brainstorming and so on. So it was a good start for it. Yeah.
No, that's really cool. And I see that So Crofty so-and-so says, I so identify with that, Rita. I recently had a desire to design a board game, so I set it as a project for a real-life group I facilitate. No idea where the idea came from.
Yeah.
And this is such an interesting thing with, these random sparks of ideas, and it's like totally inexplicable. And I'm sure that if I asked you to make up a reason for the idea, you could make up the reason, but you can't even know ourselves, and that's the almost crazy thing about the human brain.
Yeah.
So that banking job, which I trust you that it's boring and you don't want to talk about that, but I'm going to force you. So what was a typical day like at the bank? What were you doing?
So first I would say the apprenticeship was very good. Yeah, so I made an apprenticeship as a bank for 2.5 years, and we learned a lot of good things I still can use in real life. But the real job as a banker it's all about selling products. And at the end, the pressure was getting very, very high to sell products. And I saw people selling products to older people, and that was not good. So
you mean people who kind of exploiting people? Is that what you mean?
I mean, the people who bought it didn't really need that, or it wasn't the best thing for them. So, but they sold it because they needed it for the pressure behind it.
Because of the commission, and I guess that's the way it goes in a capitalistic society.
Yes. And
almost overconsumption and people buying things that they don't need. And marketing making us all buy more. Yeah. What kind of things were you selling? When you say you were selling products, are you allowed to talk about that?
I didn't. I sold lower things like telephone bankings. So it's like change your things to online or telephone. So I didn't sell phones or something like that. But I saw people doing that, and the thing was, okay, I have to decide. I stay where I am and nothing happens, and I will be there for the rest of my life, or I will sell the other things and having that pressure and being that person I don't want to be. And so I said, okay, and the third option is changing my job. So I changed my job.
You went back into education and you studied photo design, and how does this all work?
So I had to go to high school again, and 2 years, and then I studying on university photo design in Munich. 4 years also. So it was a big change because as a banker and with no other duties, I earn a lot of money. And going back to school, and I didn't have that much money, and it was a big change for me. So just to lower my costs and to not going to holiday every year and so on. So, but it was okay. It was okay. Yeah.
And do you feel, I mean, 2020 aside, do you feel like you finally made it as a photographer?
What do you mean? What?
Like, do you feel like you are established in your career as your photographer?
It was always the plan to have a second job, because I don't think that photography is the future. Because because with all the smartphones and they're getting better and better, and it's really hard to get jobs, to get good paid jobs as a photographer. And it was always the plan to have something else, but during my studying, you could see that something changed, and the job would be no longer the job as it was. So, yeah. So I also have a musician project, so where I can also do stuff, and I always do more things. That if something doesn't work, I have other things to do. Yeah.
So you have other backup plans, essentially.
Yes. Always.
So when you started, was Men at Work your first design? I know it's your first published thing, but was it your first design?
No. It was I think it was my it was the fifth games I designed, and it's through an agency. So the agency is called White Castle. They are in Vienna, and I showed it the agency, and they said, okay, if you change a few things, we can make a contract. And they changed a few things, and then I make a contract with the agency, and then the agency is tried to get a publisher, and then they find Plan B games. Yeah.
Nice, and it was a really good fit, because obviously you're someone who's able to make really nice components, which is exactly what you need for a dexterity game.
Yes. So the normal theme of the game was in a circus, balancing on a line. But I was very happy when they changed the theme as on a construction site. So it's a very lovely theme because you can wear the helmets and doing so other things around it, and that was very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something, it's weird how having a fun and cute version of a boring thing can sort of seem more fun than having a game version of a circus, for example. Like, a circus is already fun, but somehow, so yeah, sure, it could have worked as we've got even now, like Meeple Circus or whatever, but having it Men at Work, where it's a construction site, but hey, it's slightly subverted. That subversion itself, I think, adds extra whimsy. That's just my viewpoint.
Yeah.
So, we've got a few questions. Just going to catch up with the chat. Xate also started to make a game before being in the hobby, but then started to play games and realized how much was already out there and lost the conviction to make one. Because in this example, Xate's thinking, oh, it's not as good as what else is already out there, which is kind of sad in some ways. But then the question becomes, how do you keep the conviction to keep going when you know, okay, well, this is not as good as what is already available?
So first, I don't. I like designing, but I don't love each of my board games I designed. So I don't have that emotional connection to my board games I designed. So this is very important, because when you start designing and later you see the board game isn't that good, or you showed it some publisher and they all say no, thank you. You could do it on the side and starting the next project. So this is very important for me to have the motivation to go on. So I've seen a lot of designers working on a game for 4 or 5 years for the same game, and they're very, very frustrated because no one wants the game, and they're very frustrated, and the motivation to go on to create new games are very, very low. So this is my recommending to you. If you're designing board games, you should have not the emotional connection to your board games. For me, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how you want to have enough of an emotional connection that you care about it and that you end up making something worthwhile. You want to have pride in your work. You want to be feeling like I'm doing something worthwhile. But at the same time, these do need to be, in some sense, products. And
Yeah.
that was something that I actually wanted to ask. Right when you started, were you looking to turn this into a backup career, or did it start from a place of, oh, I don't know whether I don't expect this to make money, but I just have this need to express myself through the medium of board games?
So absolutely the second thing, because I didn't know what I'm doing there. I designing a game, and I didn't know that there is such a big community behind that, and all the other stuff. So I just jumped in it, and now I'm here, and I also don't know what I'm doing right now. So
I think
yeah,
everyone's kind of making it up as they go along to some degree. Even if you've been doing it for 40 years, like Alan Paul has, everyone's still learning together, and there's still new research being done about board games all the time, which is kind of exciting because it is very underfunded compared to video games. Obviously, there's a lot more money in video games.
yeah.
And so they are kind of more advanced, even though they're in an older place. Quickly to tell Javier, who asks about the beginning of the stream, we were talking about the city itself of Barcelona, not the game called Barcelona. And So Crafty so-and-so says, that could be happening to So Crafty so-and-so as well. But they will try to continue and come up with something as they have others looking up to them, as it were. And so, yeah, being the leader of a small community and trying to say, hey, this is something that I'm encouraging everyone to do in my community. Obviously, this is something different, where this viewer is using this as a way to almost bring an activity to a greater community rather than a personal solo endeavor. Do you have any thoughts on this, or not really?
No.
That's fair. Alex asks, what's it like working with an agency and, of course, White Castle that you mentioned?
Yeah, I love the agency very much. So I have a few more contracts with them. I think they're very fair because they're doing a lot of stuff. For example, translating it into English and showing it to English publishers or publishers in other countries. So because when I show it to publishers, I usually only show it to German publishers, and they also help making a better game out of it. So they test a lot and they're giving feedback and so on. So I like the agency very much. So I do both. I show games on my own, but I also work with the agency with a few games. So I don't have a contract with the agency with my whole games.
So it was just on a game-by-game basis.
Yes, it's for each board game I have my own contract with the agency. Yeah.
And so presumably they get a percentage of what the publisher would normally give the designer.
Yes. So the agency gets a little bit, but they really do a lot of work. And the second thing, I really think that they would make a better contract with the publisher than I would do. So especially with a foreign publisher in English. So I'm not good in contract English. So that is a very good thing for publishers from other countries.
Yeah, I can totally understand if you're struggling with the language. I mean, I'm obviously incredibly privileged, and I was talking with someone this morning from Thailand.
Oh, this is Michael Kissing.
Nice. Where was this? Oh, in Göttingen.
In Göttingen, yes.
Had you plans to meet, or was it just randomly on the streets?
No, he was there. He was also at the Göttingen fair.
Okay, I don't know the Göttingen fair. Could you tell us about this? Is this like a toy fair, or is it?
No, it's for board game designers. And it's in a town hall, and you have your own table, and there are a lot of publishers, and the publishers go from table to table, and you can show them your games, and maybe they say yes or no, or I want to test it. And it's 2 days, and it's one of the big invention for board game designer in Germany. So they're over,
nice.
I think, maybe 50 publishers or something like that.
So also, it's almost like speed dating.
Yeah. So this is one of the date of the date in the year for a German board game designer.
So it's very much a German thing. Everything's being done in German. It's not like Hessen where it's a bit more international.
It's no. It's also international. There are publishers from other countries, and there are also board game designers from other countries. So if you want to go there, you can also go there, and you can do it over the Board Game Designers Association, the SATS. They do it, and you can come there and show your games. So, and I have.
I'd like to talk more about this and the SAZ. How do you call it? SATS?
SATS. It's Spieleautorenzunft.
And
can you say that, please?
Spieleautorenzunft.
Zunft. Yeah.
Zunft.
So the short name
Hello,
is.
Yoda. It is lovely to see you.
So the short name is SATS. SAZ. SATS. and in English it's Board Game Designers Association. So, and I'm a big fan of that because it's the biggest association for board game designers over the world, and they help board game designers to connect other board game designers, and also helping you with your contract if you have contract questions, or if there are some really interesting information around the business. So I'm a really big fan of it. And they also have a booth on the Essen Fair Spiel, where you can go and drink a coffee and get some information. Yeah. So, big fan.
Yeah, and it's got, you know, people who've been doing it for years, like Knizia, I believe, is a member of that.
Yes.
And also it's there's a lots of newcomers who think it's worthwhile. And I know that if you go to Nuremberg, for example, you get that ticket for free.
Yeah,
and the Nuremberg Toy Fair is actually quite expensive to attend.
Yeah,
so you almost get, with the financial benefits, you almost get a lot of money back anyway.
Yes.
And this is, what would you say has been the biggest benefits of SATS for you?
The first thing is, of course, answering the contract questions. And the second thing is connecting with other board games. So I think it's very important to connect with other board game designers, to getting a strong community, and to get some play tests or getting feedback or some other information. So it's very important that we are a strong community.
By the way, was this Men at Work? Or?
No, this was Azul.
Okay.
And I really love Azul.
Okay.
From Michael Kiesling.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great game. I agree. Great design. I love the drafting system in that. I love Hoity-Toity or Adderverlicht. I don't know how to say it in German. You know, the Adververlicht.
What?
The one that anyway, sorry, the one that we saw a bit ago, where you go around and there's the auctions. Anyway, never mind. Sorry.
What?
Wait, let me actually try and fight. You know, where is it? This. Where was it? We this one.
Verpflichtet.
Verpflichtet.
Yeah, from Klaus Teuber.
Yeah, I love this one.
Yeah, this is very good. I also have it here in my schedule. Here it is. Very good game. Yes.
Have you played? I don't know. Oh, I don't know what it would be called in German, but Doodles, also by Klaus Teuber. So Klaus Teuber's first Spiel des Jahres winner, I think, I can't remember the name of it, but Barbarossa. And then Barbarossa was redone, was re-implemented by Cosmos as Doodles. I don't know if you've played it.
No, I didn't.
Okay, no. Never mind. Just I thought, maybe you've played more of Klaus Teuber's thing. I just find it really interesting how Klaus Teuber is actually quite, just gets to do lots of different things.
Yes, he did great games. So
yeah, and such a diversity.
Yes, and everybody only knows Catan. This is so. Yes, but he really did great board games. Like,
what would you like to do? Would you like to? I mean, with the things that you've done so far, I couldn't understand any of the reviews for your latest game. But
so my latest game is King of 12.
Of course, but like that itself is still quite on the simpler side. Do you think that you will stay on the simpler side of gaming, or do you think you will one day make more complicated things? Or
no, I also did more complicated games, and they are just lying by some publishers for testing. But with Corona, they can't test, so everything goes very slow, and I'm still waiting. And I can't tell if these games are getting published. So, but I also do more complicated games. Yes.
So it sounds like. Do you think that's just the way that you will go forever? Just making games, which and every sort of games. Do you think there's anything that you will not do? Is there any kind of game that you would not want to make, or you would not want to design, or you would not want to play, like war games or LARPs? Or
I can't say yet, because 2 years ago I said I don't want to play expert games, and now I play expert games. So so I don't know what will be in 2 years. Yeah,
that is totally fair. Now I'll just see if we've got. Oh, I want to address Javier's question. So, do you know about Barcelona, the Zoom game?
No. Is it good?
Oh, I've not played it myself. It was just that it combines the city and photography. It was by Nuria, who I've had on the show, and I mean, I'm biased, but I've heard great things about it.
Okay.
It was and yep. Why is this so hard to say for me? Adel verpflichtet.
Because in German it's also a very weird board game name. So
what does that even mean?
So royal, being a royal has some beauty with it. So this way, so the duty with being a royal.
Okay.
Duties with being a royal. So it's
hardships of my gosh, I'm too high up.
I don't understand the title, because I know I could do more better titles for that great game. I don't know why they used that title.
In English, I think it's called Hoity Toity.
This is much better. Hoity Toity.
I'm glad you're amused by it. It's a very strange phrase which no one really uses anymore.
It's like Humpty Dumpty.
Yes. So we're going to talk about jealousy a wee bit.
Yeah.
And feeling jealousy of other people when other people win awards. And this is one of the suggested topics that I had, because I struggle with this. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I need to remind myself that it's not all about me. Just because someone's done something really well, it doesn't mean that I've done any worse. And we need to celebrate other people's successes. So how do you ever have issues with jealousy? You mentioned that you had troubles as a creative in your photography career.
So I learned a lot from my photography career, because when I doing a lot of photography, and also when I studied photography, I was very, very jealous to other people having success with photography, and this was very toxic. This was so toxic, and it wasn't good for me. So everything bad I learned from photography, I do it better in the board game business. So I'm mostly not jealous of other board game designers. Okay, when someone wins an award, maybe a little bit, but not. But mostly, I enjoy other board game designers or the board games, and I really love playing other board games and I'm very what did I say? I'm pleased when someone wins an award for a good game. Can we say that?
Yeah.
So and that gives me a really good feeling. So you should try that.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we do try, but we all have moments of weakness. We all have those moments. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say we all, but certainly I have those moments, and I'm becoming better. Those moments are becoming rarer, and I'm doing better these days. But I certainly have these moments where I'm like, oh, someone did really well, and I really don't like their game. Oh, it's because they've managed to spend so much money on marketing, and I'm jealous of that. And I know that's not a good emotion. And sometimes I see other people at the convention thinking, oh, they're having someone here just now, and I don't have anyone here at my stand. What am I doing wrong? And sometimes if it's just, okay, what am I doing wrong, and examining myself, then that's totally fair. But if it's like, oh, why am I not getting those people? Why are they getting the people? And that jealousy, as you say, can be incredibly toxic. And it's, yeah. Do you have any tips?
Imagine good board games are for the whole business better than bad board games. So this is one thing, maybe. So because we are in our own bubble, so the board game community is when you really look at it, it's very, very small. We are in a really small bubble. And so if you go in the supermarket or something like that, you still see Monopoly and Uno as top games. So when good games are getting marketing or showing in some TV or something like that, it could be only good for our business to growing. So that is my tip I can give you. And the second tip is enjoy what you do. And so what we do, we are in one of the greatest business in the world. So, and getting only one game published is so a great success, because there's so many games which not getting published. So enjoy your games that were published, and enjoy what you're doing. So this is, yeah. Does this help you?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, celebrating your own successes. And I think one important thing for me has been to remember that everyone is on their own path. Like, I am going to be worse than someone else in some ways, and I'm going to be better than someone else in some ways. Everyone is the best in one aspect, and for sure, celebrating our own successes, but also being proud of others. And that is a difficult balance, because then what do you do when it's a game that you think, oh no, actually, I don't like this game, and I don't think that this game is even, good for, no, I'm angry at these. Yeah, sometimes it's like, where is the line between genuine well, these people should give more credit and cite, you know, other things, and me just being a sore loser because I don't have a company that's selling hundreds of thousands of units of.
Yes, but you also have to remember that what we do is like in every other creative business, like music or something like that, you also need a lot of luck. So that the perfect game is showing at the right time to the right publisher, and this has to do with a lot of luck also. So if you have a great game, I would say I have a lot of great games, but no one likes them. But I would say, okay, it's not the right time for them. Maybe I have to wait a little bit and showing it later, and maybe then it's been great. You don't know it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I don't know, this is something that we could probably ramble and blether and ponder about for an entire 2 hours. It kind of feels like a nice topic, maybe for a round table sometime, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Getting 3 or 4 people together. By the way, can I just say I love you know what Pegasus Spiel does with Spiel mit dem Autor, which is, yeah, it's fun. I don't want to project, but certainly if I was signed up by Pegasus Spiel, I would have fun playing my game with the people, and I really enjoyed the little bit that I did at Cannes with Gigamic. That was so nice, and making a big deal of it and having this calendar. It's a lovely idea. How did this go? Can I ask?
So I would say Pegasus is a German publisher, but also I don't know the Verleger. I don't know the word when they translate games into German and then publish it.
Oh, localizer.
Yes, localizer. Pegasus is a publisher, but Pegasus is a great localizer. And when they localize a game, they really make great marketing, and they also integrate the board game designers, and they do a great job, and they have a lot of fun with doing that. So I think that's the most important thing. They love board games and having a lot of fun with doing that. Yeah, here's you can see
they got your name wrong.
Yeah, they got my name wrong. Yes, but we are on a building site, and that could happen on a building site. So I just changed it. It was the first time the game was showed. The game Man at Work was showed on the fair Spiel in Essen, and there was a big wall with my wrong name. That was very fun. Yeah.
What day did you fix it on? Was it Wednesday?
Yes. I saw
Wednesday.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so at least none of the public had seen it yet properly.
Maybe, yes.
But yeah, congratulations. I think that once you are in one of, well, myself, you know, I totally know that feeling, being in a big banner like in the main hall, and that felt incredible to me. Was it the same for you, that you felt, okay, I've finally got there? Was there a moment of triumph?
No, it was like what's happening here, because at that time I created games for 2 years or something like that, and I didn't know what's happening. So I started creating games, and then I was on that fair. I never been on that fair before. It was very, very confusing what's happening here. Yeah.
And
maybe something like, is this a dream or what? Yeah, don't know.
Alex says that's great marketing, except for the typo. And a quick hello to Nicholas
Hi,
Straccia, who
Nicholas.
popped in.
Yeah, hi, Nicholas.
And talking about jealousy, Javier says there are some TV shows that are so popular and have a huge audience, and I can't understand why so many people watch such shallow things with almost zero content. Rita's advice was spot on. Enjoy what you do, despite how popular it is. And yeah, this is a thing, like, it's kind of a symptom of how messed up our capitalistic society is, that success is automatically signaled as financial success, as sales, as how many you've reached. It's not even and talking about Javier says there's English versions of Adel verplichtet actually has many different names. By hook or crook, fair means or foul, espionage, and hoity-toity are apparently all names for the game. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, it feels like you want to have, surely, consistency in your marketing. I don't know, but and Alex just can't understand why they haven't won the Spiel des Jahres yet. Why won't they accept any unpublished prototypes?
You can write an email to them.
I'm talking about things that are completely brain dead. I think this is part of it. You look at it and you say, okay, a lot of people don't like thinking too much when they're relaxing, and that is totally fair. It's just, I don't know, sometimes we have to try and be understanding of other people, understand that even though their values may not necessarily align with ours, you know, everyone's trying to do good in their own way. And yeah, sometimes we might say, okay, this systematic things need to be changed, but try and work out why something's popular. Talking about some people not liking to think too much when they're relaxing, we were going to talk a wee bit about picking the right game for the group. And this is such an important thing to think about. How much does someone want to think? How many rules do they want to go? What kind of mood are they in? How do you go about picking the right game for a group?
So I would say I have several groups where I play. Oh, this is Anita from White Castle Games and Andreas for White Castle Games. So
okay,
yeah,
who helps get men at work?
Yeah.
So is it basically just two people in White Castle, the agency?
So it's two people, but they're working with freelancers. So a few more.
Yeah. Cool.
So which was the question? So
picking the right game for.
I would say I have several groups, and some of the groups are really freaks. So they're also working in the board game business, and you can play nearly everything with them. So this is not a question. So I pick a new game and they play it. So and for my,
some people just want to play whatever you put in front of them, they will be happy.
And the other groups are some friends of mine, and there are non-players, I would say. And so I mostly pick very easy games. So mostly games like Spiel des Jahres, this low, and not so much rules, and very fun. And so these are the two groups I have. I have the players which play everything, and I have the non-players.
And so then, even within that, obviously you've got the complexity level, but even within like pictures, I can't remember what the German, you know, the Spiel des Jahres 2020.
Pictures. It's also in English, pictures.
Oh, in German it's also
in
pictures.
German, yeah.
Okay, sorry. But yes, sometimes people don't want such a party game. Sometimes people might want something to do more with. Yeah, it's interesting because I played a game with the family called Say What, and this is a really interesting game for having conversation, for chatting about things.
Yeah.
And then I was told that really what they wanted was something that was more to do with words or traditional cards.
So normally I ask people before what they want or what they don't want, and mostly they say, I don't want party games, or I don't want deep strategy games. So I knew, okay, I can do this or this. So I asked people before, of course.
Do you have a hefty library? Board game library, I mean.
I have my shadow behind me, and the games here are very easy games, and mostly games I play with non-players. So when I'm on board game evenings with my freaks, I would say they have the expert games. They have the expert games, and they have a lot of games, and I don't need to bring my easy games.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
for sure. When you're a hobby gamer, at a certain point, you end up with a backlog of games that you really want to play, and you're just yearning for someone to play that. And I've had so many times someone say, oh, do I need to bring a game? Is it okay if I don't bring a game? And everyone will say, yes, absolutely, come and play the games. Obviously, like for playtesting, which surprises me. Some people, when they're coming to a playtest session, are like, oh, is it okay if I don't have a game of my own? And we always say, yes, absolutely. We love you even more if you don't have a game of your own and you just come here to try everyone else's game. But it is the same with published games. When you get to a certain games group, everyone's like, oh, I want to try this, I want to try this. And sometimes people will ask for a specific thing, but they don't. And it's interesting because from a non-gamer perspective, the person who brings the games is doing the service, and for sure it is. But also from a hobby gamer's perspective, everyone else who's putting in the time and who is willing to be there and engage with everyone and just spend that time and companionship is really doing the valuable thing of allowing these games to be played. Does that make any sense?
Yes. What is your point?
I guess the point is that, yeah, we don't need to have so many hobby games because, as you say, I'm just reiterating, I'm just agreeing with you that, yeah, we don't need... Generally, hobby gamers are more eager to play their own things, whereas non-gamers, if are like, okay, we're having a game evening, the person who brings the games is seen as doing more of a job.
Yeah. So I usually, okay, when I bring games and I play with non-players, of course I have to tell them the rules, but the games are so easy so that it's not really a job for me. And with the other groups, they really like deep games, and they're also enjoying reading the rules and playing it 3 hours or something like that. So I don't have problems with that. And I'm also on, when Corona isn't there, I'm on a lot of fairs, and there are also people who just reading the rules and getting money for that. So I don't have so it's not a job for me to go to non-players and telling the rules, because the games I bring are very easy.
Yeah, for sure, it can be a joy.
Yeah.
I was interested actually a wee bit in your children's games that you made, and I was kind of curious about Hoppytop. I haven't found any. Oh, there's Marcus. And so with Hoppytop, what was that experience signing with a children's publisher much different?
It's the marketing is different. Normally, a board game publisher is on every fair in Germany, but the children's publisher is mostly working with kindergartens, or especially with businesses for children. And there were on the fair in Essen, but they don't go to Nuremberg or to the other fairs. Yes.
I would have thought that Nuremberg would be perfect.
No. So there are in Nuremberg, but they not in the board game area. They are in the woods area.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
So they are at Nuremberg Toy Fair.
Yes. But they're not in the board game area. They're in the children's wood.
Oh yeah, and it was really interesting for me because I went to Nuremberg for the first time in 2020.
Yes.
And obviously seeing Jekko and seeing Haba, and these are, to my mind, people that I would love to maybe sign up with one day. Yeah. And they are outside of the board game area, but that doesn't mean that they're suddenly not board games.
Yeah. But so Harbor is usually on every big fair. So we are talking about board game fairs like Spieldoch in Duisburg, or BerlinCon, or so smaller fairs, but where you can play the board games. And so they only are in Essen and Nuremberg, and they're a little bit out of the board game business.
Yeah. Oh, that looks, Spielwarenmesse. There we go. I was going to say that looks like Spielwarenmesse, Nuremberg.
Yeah.
It's interesting how instantly you say, oh, that looks like the kind of furniture that they've got at this particular place. Yeah. And every area has its own style. Now, clearly, you were quite excited to get involved with Men at Work for the... Oh, I love that show, by the way. I adored that so much. Yep, agreed. But, yeah, we watched it all in one afternoon. Myself, Chris, and McCall. We watched it all in one evening, like it was an extended film.
Yeah. Did you watch The Queen's Gambit?
I still haven't. I saw your...
You have to. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, ready?
So, what are some of your favorite films? I'm just going to ask. What are some of your favorite TV shows or films?
TV shows or films?
Both.
Okay.
Of all time.
I'm a big Netflix and Amazon Prime fan, where I can see series, and I do series. I like series when they have strong women, like the games, the Queen's
Games?
Gambit. The Queen's Gambit, or also what is it called? Mrs. Maisel? No, what is it? The show called? I have to Google it. Mrs. Maisel?
Don't know if anyone in chats knows this one. Oh, we've got
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
her. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, it's also about a strong woman, and it's playing in the 50s, and she's a comedian, and it's also a business which is ruled by men, and so she's getting her way. So it's like the same like the Queen's Gambit. It's a man's world, but she's also getting her way. So this is this is
So
really.
is that on Amazon or Netflix?
It is Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is on Amazon, and the Queen's Gambit is on Prime. So, but I also like crime series like the Monk or Mentalist and that kind of Bones, that kind of things, the old things. And I really like Nordish crime series, like playing in Sweden or and I really enjoy that. Yeah.
And I neglected to say a quick hello to Party Meatball. It's lovely to have you. Javier says that your laugh is so contagious. And Alex mentions Miss Fisher's Mysteries.
Oh, yeah, it's also very good. Yeah, it's also very good. Miss Fisher's Mysteries, very good.
Have you ever watched Spaced?
Spaced? No.
It's very English. It's by what's that? The person who did Paul and anyway, it's basically about a couple of friends who are looking for a flat, and then they move into a new house, and then they just, I'm not really selling it here, but just some of the people in the house are a bit eccentric. Okay. There's the homeowner who lives there and is almost a bit overbearing at times. There's the eccentric artist who is painting whilst in the nude and can only paint when they're really grieving. And yeah, it's I don't know. For me, I like things that are maybe a little bit weird, that make me think, oh, so just stepping outside of life for a moment. Okay. And sometimes, I've got to admit, I do sometimes like some sorts of romantic comedies with a supernatural twist, like Sliding Doors, if you know that.
Oh, or... Misfits? Did you see Misfits?
No, I never saw that one.
Oh, it's so mostly I like very funny series, and this is very funny. So the first six parts. Oh, this is my dog. So
yeah, very cute. I like the video of your dog burying the food with air.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I also like the Orville. You know the Orville? No, it's also a funny series. And yeah, Misfits. Yes, Misfits. You have to watch Misfits.
And Javier mentions Freaks. You are one of us to improve my German. Strong female lead character in it too.
Really? Freaks? No, I have to. I write it down. Freaks. Oh, please.
I actually. So, what was the one that you mentioned with the crazy name? Not the one that's a bit like Miss Fisher's Mysteries.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah.
And instantly, I'm just imagining like a Victoriana type thing. Oh, you know that one with Sherlock Holmes's sister? Did you see that film?
Yes. Enola Holmes.
Yes, that's the one. Enola Holmes.
Very cool.
And I just watched that a couple of months ago.
Yeah, very cool.
That was fun to see.
Yeah,
I really liked the fight scenes in it, and like also the train. It was like, wow, all the big, pastures and.
So did you know that in real time, Millie Bobby Brown and the guy are a couple now?
No, I don't tend to follow actors or know anything about them at all. I've got to admit, I'm quite maybe insular and I'm quite geeky, and that I'm quite into board games. But no, it's the one thing that I was going to ask before we finish up. It was about publicizing and helping the publishers publicize things, because with Men at Work, Pegasus Spiel asked you to do the Spiel mit Autor, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrongly, but with the, I don't know, did you do a lot of other publicizing with that? And when it came to Hoppytop, was there any school visits, or was there anything that you did on their behalf?
No. It was the plan, but I didn't it. So I had to do it on my own. And at that time, I concentrate on other plans. But mostly when I publish a game, I make a lot of marketing myself. So I did with the new game King of 12. I make advertise wherever I can. So here's the game. So it's going to be published in English in March and April. And the publisher is Lucky Duck Games.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's the Chronicles of Crime. They make Chronicles of Crime.
Yeah, I had Vince on the show a while back.
Yeah, and the German publisher is Corax Games, and it's a dice trick-taking game. Yeah. So, but back to your question. I tried to give the best for the board game. So, and I think they, as I said, the board game business is very small, and that we could do so much more marketing to get other people enjoying new board games. And I think there is so much more things we could do. And yeah, but I think we are on the beginning. So what we do is very slow, and we could do very, very much more.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I also compared with the 90s. So in the 90s, there were a lot of TV advertisement for board games. And now when I watch TV and the advertising is there is no advertise for board games. And I think there was a time when Monopoly and Taboo and so on are getting really popular, and now they're still playing it. I think the TV advertising was a great part of that, so that it's still in the minds or in the mind of the people.
Yeah, it's almost like a catch-22 because we need to sell hundreds of thousands, if not millions, to make it worth having
But we could.
Adverts.
Maybe.
But then, yeah, it's like kind of trying to break out of this cycle where it is quite insular, for sure. I mean, you're right. There's, especially with games like, Fireball Island, which is, okay, it's super expensive, but just one. I mean, that's a kind of thing that, for sure, I could imagine that selling millions if it hasn't already.
Yeah,
maybe
but
TV adverts would give it that little boost.
Yes.
Are TV adverts even such a big thing anymore, though? Because the world has changed so much.
I also mean TV advertise, and of course, if you're on YouTube, there are a lot of advertising. So I mean, also bad advertising.
I mean, it's interesting because going on YouTube, they're so targeted, and I keep getting adverts for mentorship programs, for marketing, for funnels, and or some reason for exercise stuff, and that's the adverts that I get. So yeah, sure, presumably there aren't any board game people on YouTube that are advertising on YouTube, because if they were, presumably I would see that. But yeah, it's weird. It kind of feels almost like mobile phone games, or you're right. It would be good to break out of this bubble.
Yeah.
And I think that brings us to the one thing that you mentioned before we started up that we've not really talked about, which is designers hiding away. You mentioned, why are so many designers hiding away? Can you explain what you mean by this?
I mean that, so it is not really in the mind of the people that a board game is created by a designer. And I think that is one reason for that, not the only one, but one reason is that a lot of board game designers in the past were hiding. Because maybe they are very shy, because a lot of they're not really the type of people are saying, hello, here I am, like me. So they are very shy. And
like here you are, like you have an open invitation for everyone to meet you at certain times. I don't know what's going on at the SATS booth.
What?
At 2 to 4 or 12 to 2.
Yeah, they meet me in Essen.
Was that like one of those socializing after for coffee?
Yeah. So and that is that makes a line. So I think the board game designers are hiding. So maybe some publisher think, oh, maybe we don't need to write them on the box. And so this is a circle. So they're not on the box. The people are not thinking that a board game is designed by an author, and board game designers are hiding again. So this is also a bubble. You know?
Yeah. Like a vicious cycle, you mean?
Yeah. And maybe we also have to break out from this bubble. And when the people in normal life are seeing, oh, there is a designer behind a board game, like a musician behind a song, or like an author behind a book. So maybe we should stay connected with that person, and
Hmm.
so we also can break out of this bubble.
Yeah, it's difficult, and I mean, with your own Hoppytop, like your name isn't on the box, and
Yeah.
you weren't even mentioned on Board Game Geek that we had a we chat about before we started broadcasting.
So maybe I
And
should change that.
I put in a correction on your behalf, and last night when I was looking at it, and I said, yeah, I mean, it's like so much comes out of Hasbro and so much in the toy, what would be considered a toy market. But even though they are mainly in the toy market, at least if you look at Haba or Jekko, I believe Jekko also does this, I'll have to double check. But certainly Haba, even though it might be a game aimed at a 6-year-old, they still write the name of the designer on the front of the yellow box. And I think there is something beautiful about that, because not only crediting the person, but of course on Hoppytop, you are there in the manual, you're just not on the box. And so, yeah, how much credit do people need to make these things work? How much onus is there on the publisher versus how much onus is there on the designer?
Yeah, I think so that maybe the board game designers have to send up and just say, hey, I want my name on the box, and I want it minimum that big on the box. So when you see a book, the name is like that big on the cover, and then the title, and then the publisher. And for board games, it's a little bit changed. It's the designer is here, the title is here, and the publisher is here. No, it's and that is what we compare with board games. We don't compare board games with board game designers. We compare board games with publishers. Oh, have you played the new board game from Bloopy Bloop publisher? Oh yes, that was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see also when we get into it, like a page, literally half a page set aside to say, oh, actually, these people worked on this, not only the designer, but hey, here's about the artist, here's about the person the people who actually did something and what they did. Because if you say this is a developer, this is a graphic designer, this is the artist, this is also an artist, what does that mean? What did these people do? And sure, that's a nice, quick way to do it, but it doesn't really explain. And I just love this picture, by the way. But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
It's
yeah.
And so, yeah, Alex mentions it's quite a powerful thing. Having the name on the box makes people realize that's a person made this game rather than a big faceless company. Yeah. Absolutely, says Niklas. And Javier says, this picture is almost not safe for work.
So this is from the publisher. This was a marketing thing from the publisher.
From Pretzel.
Yeah, from Pretzel Games.
That's very nice. It's kind of sad that this marketing has to be like the most important thing ultimately, and yeah, it's not enough to just make a thing and then for other people to enjoy it. Like, you have to tell them that this thing exists.
Yeah, but it's like in other businesses. If you are a musician and you are a new musician and making a song, you also have to do marketing for it so that people see there is a new song and want to listen to it. It's like in other businesses. But I think we could do more for marketing.
Yes. I think that unless you're planning to work for, I mean, even sending your CV to someone, going for an interview, for a job interview, is a form of marketing.
Yeah.
And unless you're genuinely planning to work for just one company for your entire life, you have to do a wee bit of marketing. And yeah, especially in this kind of industry where it is freelance, where it's, hey, check out my game, where you're pitching, where you get, where you sit down with someone, where, and presumably at this point, now that you're known for, okay, you say, oh, I designed Men at Work, people, oh yes, I know that game. And presumably it's a little bit easier to meet with publishers. Do you still think that agencies are as important for you, bringing it back full circle to White Castle?
Yeah, as Men at Work was very important for me because a lot of publishers know me now, and I can get appointments for a pitch, but the game I pitch has to be good. So it's not.
Of course.
It's not like, oh yeah, you did that. Oh, we take that. No, I'm starting every time from the beginning.
But the doors are open. I mean, it's not that...
The doors are open. Yes, the doors are open. But I still have to create good games.
Of course, I'm not denying that. But what I'm asking is, at this point, do you feel like the agency is of value? Will you continue with agencies? Because you mentioned that you're not so easily able to understand the legal English.
Because they have a lot of connections to foreign publishers, which I don't want to connect because of the language or some other reasons, and I still work with them. And there are a few games that I know. Okay, that the German market is different than, for example, the English market, the Spanish market, the French market. So every country likes other type of games. And when I create a game, and I thought, okay, this game maybe not so good for German publishers, then I connect the agency and show it, and maybe the agency shows to a French publisher, and they like other types of games. Yeah.
And no, it sounds like you know what you want to go. So as we finish up, you mentioned that there's one of your future games after King of 12 that you can mention.
Yeah, it's we continue the King of 12 line, and the next game from the King of 12 line would be cooperative, and it's also in the same word. So you have that D12 dice, and you have the cards, which changes the dice, but you're playing it cooperative.
Okay, so if people are excited by King of 12, or if people in Germany are already enjoying that, then they can look forward to a cooperative version.
Yes, and it's an outstanding game. It's an outstanding game, but in the same world.
You mean standalone game?
A standalone game, but in the same world.
And as we start getting towards the end, is there anything else that you would like to mention?
No, just have fun and stay healthy.
Okay, it has been. I'm so close to today. I'm going to try and flick through all the pictures until we're on October. So we've seen. Oh, yeah, I met the designer of this lovely person.
Yeah.
And I mean, I find that most people in the board game industry, as you mentioned in one of your posts, is just super lovely. I think that most people are just generally lovely people.
Yeah.
And we have talked about so much. How was Spiel Digital for you, if you could summarize it in one sentence?
It was okay for the options we had, but it cannot be the same as we cannot replace the real fair. So I had a little bit of fair feeling for that. It was good, but next year I want to go through the halls and going to every booth again.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And any words about your dog?
I think he's not here. He's the best. He's the best dog in the world for me. He's
okay.
It couldn't be more perfect match. It's a perfect match. Yeah.
And so the Queen's Gambit, you absolutely recommend it. And there we go.
This was the podcast cover.
Oh yes, so that's the cover of Spielen aufs Ohr.
Right.
And so if people want to check that out, I will put that YouTube link in for people. And I will also send the link in there. So we have talked about so much, and I want to say thank you to everyone who's been here. If you want to check me out, stuffbez.com, stuffbez.bigcartel.com, twitter.com/stuffbez, instagram.com/stuffbez, where you see pictures, twitch.tv/stuffbez. I am streaming every day at 10 a.m. youtube.com/stuffbez. Those are for the old episodes. stuffbez.com/discord. I have an event coming up this Saturday, and of course, facebook.com/thingsbybez, because at the time I couldn't have the F and the B next to each other. Anyway, wrap up. We talked about Smart 10. We talked about connection. Well, we had some connection issues. And then we started talking about intermittent fasting, about walking through the forest, about port and enjoying holidays, about Snapchat filters, about sudden ideas that you just want to do this. Like sudden sparks of you don't know where it comes, but you just are gripped by this all-consuming desire to make a game. About the agency, White Castle, about Göttingen Fair, about SATS, Adderall Verpflichtet, also known as Hoity and many other things.
And also
Yes, I'm not going to attempt that again. About jealousy, about being proud of others, enjoying what you do and celebrating your own successes. About being aware of the luck. We chatted a lot about films and TV shows. We chatted a lot about, about not having sugar, maybe 2 days a week someone does, and about getting involved in the marketing, about people hiding away and trying to make sure that your name is on the box. Like maybe one day we will have designers that's boom, this is designed by, cause I mean, to be fair, like I'm looking at this and this is self-published and it's John Allison is quite small and then Skeleton is big, but this doesn't have anything on it. And there are some people, for example, Rainer Knizia. If you have Rainer Knizia, then their name goes on quite big, and I would say that Rainer Knizia's name here is almost bigger than the Jolly Thinkers. Yeah. But I feel like that should be true of arguably everyone if you are putting the work into making something. But we talked about so much. Is there anything else that you would like to mention as we wrap up?
No, it was a very intense morning, and I really enjoyed it, and I really liked your crazy questions, and it was very fun.
I'm glad to hear. And of course, if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube after the fact, there's all the links down there, and you can check out Instagram, Rita on Fire, and get yourself on Twitter maybe. Why are you not on Twitter?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I was on Snapchat also, but I think I don't like Twitter.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, and I have Instagram and Facebook, and that should be enough, I think.
Yeah, no more Rita for you. If you want your Rita, then you need to get on Instagram. Otherwise, no more Rita for you.
So especially
there's videos.
Especially in Instagram, I post a lot of board game stuff.
So there we go. And so now I say, well, firstly, thank you to everyone who's been watching. Thank you, Rita. You have been a wonderful guest.
Yes,
and I say, over to you. What are you up to? You can share anything you want to. Today, I am going to go to the dentist again in 3 hours.
Oh, no.
It's just to check that everything went okay. I'm sure it says it's kind of for a follow-up. Anyway, but that is a thing that I'm doing. That is the main event for me, frankly. That is, hey, lockdown, seeing someone, and that is all I want to share. So Rita, anyone in chat, do you want to share anything that you are up to? Any hopes and ambitions? Anything that you're looking forward to?
I hope that we can meet this year on any fair and say hello to each other and hug each other. I miss hugging so much, and I miss chatting so much. And yeah, hopefully this year. Yeah.
100%. I am just. Where's my Warlock of Firetop Mountain gone? I've lost my book, but it's somewhere on this table. It's just that my table is incredibly messy. But yeah, tomorrow I am going to be. Oh yeah, tonight on the show we're going to be playing a game that I invented last week. It's not publishable. You only need a book, any book, pen and paper to play it. And so join us at 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. Germany, I think, to join us and play along. And it takes about 20 minutes, so we'll probably play it twice over the course of an hour. And there might be a couple of other people, hopefully, fingers crossed. But that is that. Tomorrow I am streaming a read-through of the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. We're continuing that. Thursday, Dina is coming on. Friday's Friendly Friday Forum. And we might have a Polish person coming on as a not-so-surprise guest. And Saturday, of course, is an event that I'm running with some lovely people, with Eric Slauson from America and Rory Muldoon and Alan from UK and Alex from UK and Sate from Germany. All of these people have made games and we are showing them off. And I'm quite excited about that. So, yeah, for some reason, I'm having internet connection issues. And so this is not being updated properly. Normally it's linked to my calendar, but for some reason last week it hasn't been working. But please, what I said is correct. What was there might not be correct, and I'm very sorry about that. But I did also put up on my Instagram a schedule for the week if you want. But share, spread the word. If there's anywhere that people would like to raid, then if you are watching this live on Twitch, then feel free to exclamation mark raid. Then feel free to copy and paste some of this or all of this and just chuck it all into the raid when we go to the next stream. And I will just see who I am going to recommend. Sorry that you're going through all the housekeeping. You can... Oh, there's Dave K. Oh, Michael's on. Okay. That's who we're going to... Of course, it's going to be Michael. Best friends of the show, Michael. So, although with Michael, it doesn't seem like there's not much points in doing the whole raid thing. So, the one thing left to do is to say thank you, everyone, and thank you, So Crafty So. The only thing we have left to do is to say bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye. Bye.